Right, good afternoon. I will be talking about the process of setting up an urban design group with local residents in London Borough, Barking and Dagenham. So firstly, just to give you a brief summary as to what I'm going to be talking about today, I'll be explaining what a resident design forum is, why Barking and Dagenham decided to set up the Residents Design Forum, and how our meetings work. And in some concluding comments, I'll look at our future aims and ambitions for the project. And there you'll see that's our recently completed town square development with the Lemonade building, taken on a more sunny day this week. So Barking and Dagenham, we lie at the heart of the Thames Gateway, on the north bank of the Thames, to the east of the City of London. And I think it's fair to say that we're a borough going through a great pace of change occurring, as you saw in the previous slide. One of the key projects that we've got is Barking Riverside, which is a huge development looking to deliver 10,800 homes, so really setting up a new community. And it's one of the biggest projects within the Thames Gateway in a brownfield location. And the Residents Design Forum Group is seen by the council as a means of voicing concerns that have been in the past. Because of this great pace of change that's happening, residents aren't always aware of the planning process and design process. And it's only when a building's gone up have people said, I didn't know that was happening, why is that there? So we really wanted to find a more in-depth way of communicating with the community. So we're hoping that this is what this project's going to achieve. So the design forum itself, it's local residents who review design projects. They've had no previous design training, so it differs from the CABE model. It's not design review panel. They're not professionals. They're not experts. They're local people who live in the borough. We selected the residents from a group of 1,000 residents who sit on a citizen panel who are contacted from time to time on different things within the borough, so not just planning issues. And from those residents that were contacted, 150 showed interest in being on the panel, so there was a huge interest from the community. We then selected the members of the panel on the basis of things like age, gender, location, geographical location within the borough, ethnicity and disability, to try and get different viewpoints and different perspectives from the borough itself. I think that's a vital thing that's worked really well, because people come with their different backgrounds, their different issues and different experiences, which has worked really, really well. The residents themselves have been trained now from Open House to review and design, review plans and designs. And it's really important to say that the residents are supported in this completely during the process. I act as the lead coordinator, and I work with the Regeneration teams and case officers, finding projects for them, and the main point of contact with residents during the process. So again, why did Barking and Dagenham create a design panel full of residents? Because we thought that residents could provide a really valuable insight into community. They're the ones that are going to be inhabiting and living in these spaces. And also as a means of opening up the planning process to community, demystifying it. It's often full of jargon. These things get sent out. You get it through your letterbox. What do you prefer, A, B, or C? And we really wanted a more intelligent means of consulting. And also to raise the profile of urban design within the borough, so that architects are aware that it's a really important issue for us, and that projects and buildings, be they schools, public spaces, need to be designed for the people that are going to be living in them. And obviously this is essential if regeneration is going to be successful. And I think it's also really important to say that whilst we've got this group of residents who are fantastic and doing really good work, the next stage of the project after PERDA will be communicating this work with the wider community so that they're aware of the work that we're doing. So building the foundations. Open House were fantastic. When I set up the project, I really wanted to consider who should provide the training and what kind of training we should do for the residents. And I really, from the outset, I really wanted it to be that they had their own tailored training sessions and they weren't kind of parachuted into the normal, this is design training workshops. So Open House were fantastic and organised 3 sessions for our residents, 2 evening sessions and a Saturday. And we went through the basics of what is design, what is good design, how to read drawings, plans, sections, and elevations, really demystifying the process, making it's not as hard as it may seem, And I found it a really rewarding experience working with the residents because they had brilliant ideas and they picked things up really, really very quickly. And also not patronising residents, so letting them understand the design language and not dumbing it down for them. And one of the aspects of the project, the training project, that I thought was most successful was a site visit we did to Abbott's Wharf in Tower Hamlets. And we sat down in the morning on the Saturday and we looked through the plans, we looked through the design and access statements, and then we actually went and we formulated ideas about how the project might be in reality. And we all went out in the bus and we went and saw it, and it was really, really good tool to actually see what is given to you on paper and how that translates into reality, and the things that get lost in the design process, like the landscaping, and that was a really helpful part of the training. And they were really interactive, really about building confidence and getting everyone excited about the work that they'd be doing. Another thing here which you can see, which we asked Open House to do, was produce a set of guidance notes. And this really, because they only had 3 training sessions, it kind of gives them a précis of everything that they went over, an aide memoir, so that they weren't left on their own after that training. And I also use it when I write my briefs out to the residents, and also for the workshop sessions that we use, and the reports that I write, I follow and mirror the same format so that there's almost like a recipe there for the work that we do. So which projects does the Design Forum consider? So far it's been council projects and the major projects within the borough, but in the future we will probably be introducing private developments as well. We're really keen, obviously, to review projects at an earliest possible stage. It needs to be tangible, there needs to be things to be seen there. We're not looking at master plans. But the sooner that we can get in and get involved and get discussions going with our panel, the better, because then we can see the outcomes and the changes. So, yeah, influencing from the beginning of the process is really, really key and important. We meet every 2 months. I work with Regeneration team and case officers to gather together the information I need to send out to the residents ahead of the meetings. I then write a brief which draws together the main elements of the scheme for the residents. And this is then emailed and posted out to the residents a week at least ahead of our project meetings. And something which came out from the training that we did with Open House was that it wasn't really enough just to say, right, you're going to have a design forum meeting, you're going to meet the architects, you can ask questions, we posted the information out to you in the post. That wasn't going to work. So what we did is introduce workshop sessions within the week as well. So that is involved with myself and the case officer. And it's a really, really informal setting. We have all the plans laid out, and the residents are able to ask questions that they might not necessarily want to ask directly to an architect or a developer. And also, a useful aspect of that meeting is that I sit down and I write down the key questions that have come up, so that when we actually have the meeting with the architects, that's printed out, it's in front of them, they've got a list of questions that they know that they've got, so if their mind goes blank, they've got that list to refer back to. So that was something that's worked really well, and if you were thinking of replicating it in a borough, I would definitely recommend doing the workshops. So the design forum meetings themselves are attended by a chair who leads the discussion, and at least 5 of the residents. And so far we've had fantastic attendance from the residents, it's been brilliant, so that's really good.